State has to keep the ball in front of them if they want to win tonight.
All right, there you go. There's your formula. Keys to the game brought to you by Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Designate before you celebrate, because fans don't let fans drive drunk. Off and rolling at the OVC tournament, our opening round game, SIUE and Tennessee State. First of 2 games in the first round to get to the quarterfinals tonight. And Tennessee Tech and Austin Peay right after this one. You mentioned it, Marcus. Tennessee State won the regular season meetings, and a good start to the postseason meeting as a 3 up and down for Kenny Cooper. And so SIUE, after those 2 regular season losses, starting with this look, same look that they went with, and a hot start to close the season. Figured it out in late February. Won 5 of 7 coming in.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You want to play your best basketball at the end of the season, and that's exactly what they're doing. And they want to carry that over here into this postseason.
And Kasim Nicholson, your guy to watch, whisking that away. And here he is, taking his first shot of the night, and it goes down for Nicholson. So Nicholson in this starting group. One of the double-figure scorers in it with Marcus Fitzgerald. Kenny Cooper, heard from him already as well. Johnson and Dupree rounding it out. Brought to you by Legends Bank. Oh, got a little ball scuff up to begin the night.
Looks like it. You know, on that last end down there, Connor, right there is what Mr. Nicholson can do. He can shoot off the dribble. With that size and athleticism, he's such a mismatch problem. And then when you try to put a smaller guard on him to stop that, that's when he'll take you in the post and really kill you on the boards.
And Nicholson, second team all OVC. Also a big-time rebounder at 6'7". Brett Smith, James Duke, Shane Staggs. He's kind of massaging the ball.
I don't know what happened over there.
Brian Baroni's not quite sure either. SIUE head coach.
Looks like they might switch out the ball for some reason.
The only thing I can think of is it was malformed.
I have no idea. I haven't seen that happen often, so I don't know. All I know is right now we're about to pick it up with this ball, and both teams have to play with the same ball. So
yeah, Wilson ball speculation out of the bingo card to begin the night, but here we go. Ready to roll again with the new ball. And SIUE still fighting for that first basket, and D1 Pruitt got it hemmed inside. So Tennessee State out to the 5-0 jump. And going inside to Johnson. And they double him, and it's piped away by Sean Doss. So he'll score it for you. Also in the help side. And sideline call out of bounds. Going back down to the Tigers. Well, there's Coach Collins. Penny Collins, fourth year. Of course, had great time in the OVC at Belmont as a player. Part of Rick Bird's first NCAA tournament team in Division I at Belmont. And now in year 4, got his team right around the 500 mark at 8-10, coming in as the 5 seed. Johnson isolating to the left, no, and flying in for the rebound. SIUE clears the glass with Lamar Wright.
You're right, flying in. He got up off the ground on that one, and I love the intensity right here. Right now, early on in the game, these guys know that it's do or die. Most likely, if they don't win the tournament, their season's over. So they're playing with such passion because no one wants their season to end right now. And you can tell these guys are giving their all. This is going to be a highly contested battle.
SIUE not only playing to keep their season alive, but this would be historic for them. Their first OVC tournament win ever. They played with Belmont in the first half last year, and that's an offensive foul. And it's Lamar Wright barreling in, picking up his first.
I think that was a good charge. Good call by the ref. Big fella had his feet set right here. Was he outside the circle? Yes, he was. That's a charge.
That is his first. And Jalen Dupree in there taking it. And Dupree giving Tennessee State some defense. He's also been hunting his shot lately. The grad from Samford. Here's Nicholson, mid-lane. Got another 7-0 start, Tennessee State.
Nicholson is their third leading scorer, leading rebounder. He's a double-double machine. He was second in the OVC in double-doubles. If he has it rolling, they still have to figure out a way to stop Carlos Marshall and Marcus Fitzgerald. So Tennessee is off to a great start.
A whistle on the Doss drive. Get another look at Nicholson doing nice work on offense early.
Yeah, look at this. He catches it at the high post, using the athleticism to rise up over the defense. That's the second shot like that. Kid's feeling good.
At the line, Shawn Doss for 2 shots.
Nicholson closed the season well, as we mentioned off at the top. Final 7 games, even above his own standard at 14 points a game. And the Cougars on the board for the first time with their top guy, Shawn Doss. What an ad he's been, Marcus, coming from Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yeah, he was a great addition. Like I said, he averaged double figures all 4 years, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. So when you do that, you know you can get buckets. Right now, he just added that maturity and that extra punch for this year for the SIUE Cougars here, and that's why they're here, and was able to make this tournament.
She at certified bucket getter level for you yet?
He definitely is a certified bucket getter.
Love that. Got the trademark from Marcus Wilson early. Doss on the board with the first 2. So it's been Nicholson out in this mid-range game. They force him to give it up for a Cooper 3. That clang's too strong, but Marshall's in there for the offensive board. Ooh, a little ball fake and off the pivot. Doesn't get the bounce. So a couple of second looks at it for Tennessee State. Their first few trips down on offense. Here's Doss. Ooh, hung, but in traffic there. Tennessee State reels it out with Cooper. Drive and kick out for a 3 for Fitzgerald. Nope. And Johnson on the offensive glass. And Tennessee State, they are a good 3-point shooting team, getting a couple looks early at it. Second in the conference from outside. And going in tight here. That's an offensive foul. Fitzgerald called for it.
On Tennessee State's number 1, Marcus.
You don't often see that call. You know, that can go either way. He did jump into the defender right here, as you see. Here he is going down the lane. Puts his shoulder into him. Oftentimes, the offensive player gets the benefit of the doubt on that one. Not that time. Got the offensive foul called on him.
Marcus, before our first media, Fitzgerald, one of those double-figure scores you're talking about, to the bench with 2 fouls for the Tigers.
Yeah, that could be big for them. The good thing for them is they have 2 all-conference players out there. They still have Marshall, and they still have Nicholson. So when you have 2 all-conference players, they can carry you through times like this when you're missing one of your vital players.
So Fitzgerald out for now, and that's a walk. Dental, unleash your smile power with Delta Dental. And we talked briefly about Tennessee State sweeping the regular season series, and both coaches talked pretty in depth about the ball screen coverage and how that was a big key, especially in that second matchup.
Yeah, when I talked to Coach Collins, that was one of his main points was he felt the SIUE guards put tremendous pressure on his defense, coming off the pick and roll, attacking the basket. Like I said, SIUE does a great job of getting to the basket. They're second in the conference in free throws, attempted and made. So you have to defend without fouling.
Brian Baroni, the SIUE head coach, said that was where his team got into some trouble defensively, tagging some of those ball screens. Tennessee State exposed them. And out of the timeout, Tigers force a turnover. Here's Johnson driving and kicking. And Cooper got in deep and off for Johnson. He gets fouled.
And you can see the maturity of this Tennessee State team. Carlos Marshall is a man. You see how strong he's built. You have a guy like Kenny Cooper, who's also a graduate student. You have Kasim Nicholson, who's a graduate student. So when you have that much maturity and age on the court, that benefits you well at this stage in the career because these guys have been in these moments before.
Johnson at the line for 2 yet. Guy that came out of Youngstown, Ohio. And played a lot of ball for Coach Collins. And you talk about an inside scoring threat. Johnson, usually when he catches down there, like we just saw, he's getting fouled or he's scoring it, leading the OVC in field goal percentage.
Yeah, he's really good at completing field goals. Only a 64% free throw shooter. So in late games, when it's close, it's one of those things you have to measure. Do you want to get it inside and hope that he scores? Or will they foul and then he has to go to the line and you're hoping that he makes it? But he's a really good force down there, down low.
I get nervous about the old Shakem.
The old Hack-a-Shack. Yeah, Hack-a-Shakem.
Not quite as smooth. Here's Dewan Pruitt. And that's staying down this way off the knee of Nicholson. That was a tongue twister just to get out, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
So SIUE, they hung 77 on Morehead State, their final game of the regular season, but it's been a slow start for them. And down on this end, and that carries on with the miss from Wright. And Tennessee State thinking tempo, but SIUE had 5 back. Dupree outside, and down to Doss. I'm playing the inside game, back to Pruitt, and ooh, that would stick.
That was in and out. One thing I noticed, the refs are letting them play a little bit. A lot of times, right, what we just saw right there, I saw Pruitt's jersey get pulled right there. A lot of times, that's just an immediate foul. Refs are letting them play, so the players are going to have to adjust.
You like that, or you want a little tighter whistle?
I like it. You know, I like for the players, especially in the postseason. I want the players right there. Big shot right there by another veteran, D.J. Boyd, transfer from Illinois State. As a player, I like it. I just want it to be consistent, right? You can't call it tough one end and out on the other. If they're going to let you play, now you know you can get a little bit tighter on that ball screen, force them off the screen a little bit more. If they're calling it tight, you can make those adjustments as well. So the players just have to make the adjustment right now as they see how the ref is calling.
Oh, big block inside for Dupree. Clock winding down, and Tennessee State holds court down there on defense.
Wow, they're playing with a lot of tenacity right there. They look like the hungrier team right now. They look how SIUE looked their last game of the year when they upset Morehead State, when they knew they needed to get that win to get into this tournament.
How about that pass from Nicholson? Didn't lead to the basket, but back in the OVC this year after Dedrick Boyd started his career at Eastern Kentucky, then Illinois State. Now a sharpshooter for the Tigers.
You know, that's the great thing about having an all-conference level player. When you have Marshall penetrating, you have to come and stop and help him. And when you do that, that's when other guys get easier shots, and that's where Boyd was able to knock down that 3.
Boyd got right in the final couple of weeks. Late January, early February, he was struggling to hit his shot. In the final 5 games, Boyd back to big scoring for Tennessee State at the right time. Here's Boyd again from the other wing. Oh, 2 and 2 to start for Dedrick Boyd.
Well, right on cue. You talked about how he's been having it rolling here later on in the season. 2 for 2. Really got this team rolling up here 14-2.
And it's an 8-0 run, forcing the SIUE timeout.
18 points a game for him. And so when teams get down like this and the other team goes on a run, it's great to have a superstar that you can get the ball to and say, either go get me a point or go get fouled and let's slow down this momentum. Right there, coach had to call a timeout to slow down the momentum because they've had to pick up the difference for his 18 points a game by committee and not a real... Not one guy who could just take over, but as we just talked about in the preseason, before the game, Mr. Doss has carried a lot of that load and came down and hit that 3. Big 3 for SIU.
But he's going to need some more help tonight.
He definitely is.
He's the only one that scored so far for the Cougars. Had 2 free throws, now the 3. There's some help. Courtney Carter coming over. Since Taylor got hurt, he's been big for SIUE, playing more, scoring more, and then he draws the foul.
That was on Tennessee State's number 3.
You know, it's really been making up for that difference for Taylor. It's really been by committee. It's been Doss. It's been Pruitt. It's been the Wright brothers. It's been Carter. So it hasn't been one person. Each player has stepped up big in different games. And like I said, they made up for that points by committee.
Well, Tennessee State's wondering how that's not backcourt.
I'm wondering how that's not backcourt.
I'm wondering. We're all wondering. And SIUE does nothing with it with Wright.
I'm a little baffled by that. He clearly caught it on this side, bobbled it on this side.
Oh, in for a dunk for Johnson. Right back the other way. Desmond Polk with a brick. Offensive rebound for Wright, and he'll go to the foul line. That's a way to start an OVC tournament. Big time hammer.
Yeah, here you see off the penetration. The big man had to step up, and he's sitting right there in what you call the short corner or the dunker spot. That's why it's called the dunker spot. When your man helps up, you're right there ready to take one step and finish it strong.
How much did you hang out in the dunker spot?
I hung out outside the three-point line most of my career.
That was before it was cool, too.
Yeah.
right out of the first. Brian Baroni, year 3 for SIUE. And really, the same narrative, not a similar narrative, basically the same narrative as his team was following heading into last year. Had a bunch of COVID cancellations early in conference, so they had to play catch-up late. And Matt Norlander with CBS actually wrote an article that SIUE has the toughest schedule of anybody in the country with how they've had to make up games in a hurry.
Yeah, it's been a challenge for these kids over the last few years. But I tell you what, SIUE is in position. If they can continue building up this program, they're stationed right outside of St. Louis, which is a very talented city with a lot of talent. They can continue to get that local talent to come right over here. That's what I hear. Tickets are going for these days. Oh, my God.
$5,000 gets you in the door at Cameron. And by the way, can you spell Krzyzewski? You do spelling it out for us in one of those early press conferences. What do you got?
Winner. That's how I spell Coach K.
Well done. Well done. Yeah. Well, that's the finale. And Duke's looking like a team that could make a deep run. Ranked number 7 right now. And get North Carolina to close out Coach K's regular season at Cameron Indoor.
I don't think there's a chance that they lose tonight. There's no way they lose that game. They're going to set Coach K out in style. And one thing I loved about what they've done is they've kept up the recruiting. You wondered how they were going to continue without Coach K. They named Coach Shire coach in waiting, allowed him to start building relationships while Coach K was there so they could tag team on the recruiting. They have 3 top 10 players coming in, so it doesn't look like they're going to be falling off anytime soon.
Team 6.
So SIUE struggled to score it early on. Sean Doss had 5 of the first 6. Back to the free throw line here with Cam Williams. Coach Collins in Tennessee State saw Fitzgerald go to the bench with foul trouble, but didn't slow him down once he hit the bench with 2.
Didn't slow him down at all. And, you know, it's interesting. You look out there, and they have their top 3 scorers on the bench. Marshall, Nicholson, and Fitzgerald all sitting on the bench, and they haven't missed a beat.
And Johnson, good low post score. Count that and 1.
Basketball Shakem Johnson is good.
So right now you see Cam Williams upset with Pruitt. Right there, it looks like he might have played bad defense. He is on the top side because the scout is for you to come double on the weak side. We saw that still happen the first play of the game. He was just upset with his teammate that he didn't execute the scout. Therefore, he opened up the baseline, and Johnson took advantage of it and finished the and 1.
Is that why he was kind of looking back and turning around mid-play there?
That's why he was so high on his shoulder, because that is their scout. They want to take away the middle and then send the trap from the weak side. Pruitt was the one on the opposite box who was supposed to come over and do that. He misses his assignment, and it led to an and 1.
You saw Williams turn over the shoulder, say something. Courtney Cutter, a couple of fakes. Gives it up. Williams trying to make up for it with a 3. And a rebound down to Boyd.
You know,
go ahead.
There's such a thin line between winning and losing games. A lot of these teams have similar talent, but what it comes down to oftentimes is the coach's ability to lay out a strong scout and also the player's ability to execute that scout. And so plays like that, you may wonder, oh, that's not a big deal. At the end of the game, it's a 1-point game. Every possession is a big deal right now in the postseason play, and you have to execute the scout. Otherwise, you give up wide open layups because the scout tells you that your help is going to be there.
At some point, too, if you're the Cougars, you got to hit a shot. 1 of 13 to begin this game, and giving up looks in there to Dupree like that. Now, 1 of 13, 1 of 4 from the floor. And Tennessee State on the other side, 53%. Well, lid still on. Rebound out of there for Joe Hall for Tennessee State. Man, they just leave Cooper wide open, and Tennessee State will take that.
If I'm SIUE's coach, I'm not happy right now. There's no way you can have a guy dribble the ball all the way up court and no one stop the ball and just have to make shots. but it's also the effort. We saw very early on, I said it looked like Tennessee State was the hungrier team, and that was one of the keys to the game. The SIUE had to come out and play hungry the way they did against Morehead State, and they're just not doing that right now. Tennessee State is clearly the hungrier team.
8-0 run. Had a long run earlier, breaking it out 26-7. Midway point of this first half. So SIUE still can't buy one. Now Dupree's altering shots down there. And the other way, look out! Shakem jam for Johnson.
Wow. That kid has some hops. That's how you bring the energy.
And that's on offense. Tennessee State can do no wrong.
Look at this right here. Taking it coast to coast. You don't step outside the paint, and that's what's going to happen. You have to step outside the paint and stop that. If you're sitting there, and you end up on SportsCenter.
Everybody caught a body, including the ref.
I like that.
So 21-point skip out. SIUE 1 of 15 from the floor. Tennessee State is not. And Dupree kept with it. And foul line trip.
One of the things that you can, when I talk about playing hungry, and if you're sitting at home and you're watching and wondering how can you measure that, look at every 50-50 ball down there on the other end on the block. Once the shot is blocked, it's a 50-50 ball. Who ended up with it? Tennessee State. Right there, the ball was deflected. Who ended up with it? Tennessee State. 50-50 balls determine a lot of games, and Tennessee State is just a hungrier, more aggressive team towards the ball right now, and that's why you see this 22-point lead.
You were preaching on some of our calls yesterday with the coaches about those 50-50s.
I'm a big believer in 50-50 balls. Everybody gets excited about threes and dunks, but true championship teams get excited about executing the scout well and 50-50 balls. Those things give you just as much energy because those things determine wins and losses, and every possession counts.
And you said they were letting them play. They're not going to let that go from Nicholson.
Yeah, you can't just hug them around the waist.
Can. He called for the foul, though. Got that one on Nicholson.
It was interesting that Tennessee State was able to extend their lead with their 3 leading scorers on the bench. Lets you know how well they're playing right now.
It's right at the free throw line. Front end of the 1-and-1 goes down. Yeah, it hasn't mattered who Coach Collins has put in.
They've all come out and played hard, and that's all you ask your team to do. It's going to be interesting the rest of the half with both teams already with 7 fouls each. So every foul is going to be in the bonus.
No pressure here from SIUE. 6 of their 9 have come from the free throw line. 6 of their 9 points. And it gives you an idea of what kind of first half it's been from the floor.
Coach Baroni trying to switch it up with a little full court soft pressure to slow him down and falling back into the zone.
Oh, Johnson, we've seen him hammer a few on that little touch.
It looks like they can do no wrong right now. They try to go to the zone, and they're still getting layups.
And then more foul shots coming for SIUE. So, saw the physical finish, not the finesse. Shakem Johnson.
Like right there, one of the things that I would say if I was one of the players on SIUE is there was too much space right there. We talked about how the refs are letting them play, and there was a good 5 inches between Johnson and the defender Pruitt. Pruitt can step up one more step and do what you call wall up, where you put your chest into the offensive player and make him go through your chest. He just let him go to the basket. These are the things that we're talking about, playing hungry and playing more aggressive.
See if we get that situation again. See if you can teach it in live time here.
It'll happen again, definitely.
Yell at us when it happens, all right?
Got you.
All right, Johnson gets pressure. Ball buzzing around. Boyd, another 3. No. And after the hot start, one finally rims out for him. And Doss going coast to coast. Got to the rim, but no finish.
Wow.
So even the layup's not sticking right now. Cooper threads it in there and picked off. Courtney Carter, who nearly gave it right away, walled back to right. And Doss gets trampled by Boyd.
And it's 21 points, but when the other team is doing so much, and you can't just focus on stopping the inside or taking away the three. Right now they're doing both, and it's just a matter of effort. SIU has to play with a little bit more pride right now.
What about for SIUE offensively? You talk about defense. Not a lot of good options trying to slow Tennessee State down, but what beyond shot making do you tell your team if you're Brian Baroni?
Well, Baroni can call some plays, whatever plays that he thinks are going to be most effective to get buckets. But at the end of the day, I'm a big believer in it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmies and Joes. You can draw all the plays up you want. If the guys at the end of the play shooting the shot can't knock them down, it's not going to work. And they just haven't been making shots. This is where I said they missed Rayshawn Taylor, because in the past they could just give him the ball and he would get a bucket for you and slow this momentum down. No one for SIU has been able to do that, and it's just kept the momentum going for Tennessee State.
Courtney Carter takes it away. Yeah, Taylor tore his ACL late January. It's actually the second straight year. Same week, a day apart, SIUE loses a player to a torn ACL.
Wow.
So talking about the same narrative coming into this event as last year. Same seed, similar schedule. ACL happens a day apart, just like it did last year. And very similar to the first round last year. SIUE saw Belmont get out to a big jump before the break last year. Look at Acosta here. Him and Pruitt got mixed up. This is what they're over at the monitor looking at.
It looked like Pruitt, I don't know if he was trying to push him off or if he threw a blow right there. I think that's what they're looking at to see. It obviously could have been a foul on Acosta, but how Pruitt disengaged himself is what I think they're taking a look at.
Was there a mush?
Yeah, so you see the head turn. It makes me think that, yeah, that's a, I don't know if it was a punch or a mush, but it was a blow to the face. I'd be surprised if this isn't a flagrant one.
America's favorite word the last couple of weeks after Juwan Howard. That was in the slap family.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know what the word mush is. A mush is when you forcefully push someone in the face, more than likely with an open hand. It's not a slap. It's not a punch. It's a more so push your face. That's what I hope he just did right there. If he had a closed fist, it's going to be a flagrant too. He's going to be kicked up out of here.
All right, so instant replay on the flagrant fouls. Get a look there, and I mean, it definitely looked like an open hand, and not like he wound up and slapped Acosta, but
at the end of the day, he still hit him in the face, and it looked like it had some intentionality behind it. Was he trying to knock him out? No, but the refs are no longer even looking at the screen. They've seen enough. Right now, I think they're discussing, do they really want to call a flagrant 1 or flagrant 2 on this?
Baseline angle at it.
That's a flagrant 1. In my opinion, he didn't look like he punched or anything. His hand was there. He could have removed it the other way. He decided to push through the face. That's a flagrant 1. And that's the frustration. That's frustration setting in already. You know, they're looking at the scoreboard. Shots can't fall. Refs coming over to us to give an explanation right now.
There's a foul on Tennessee State's number 44, David Acosta. That's his first, team's 10. There is a flagrant 1 foul on number 1, Juwan Pruitt, SIUE.
Did you get that coming through, Mike?
Yeah.
Yep.
Team's 8.
So it's exactly what we thought it was. It was a common foul on Acosta for the push. So SIUE will shoot. They will shoot their the foul, the bonus for that. And then there was a flagrant 1 on Pruitt for the mush slash smack, whatever that was, to the face.
Call it a mush. I'm with you. Common verbiage in college basketball now. So the foul first to lead to SIUE foul shots, and then Tennessee State will go down their way and shoot theirs. So Pruitt, who was involved in it, 75% foul shooter. The vacated lane gets the first.
So he's shooting 2 because TSU has 10 team fouls. So that's what you're seeing right here. Now you should see free throws on this end for the flagrant 1.
Number 24, Cam Williams.
Yeah, you were all over it. That was the first thing you said. Flagrant 1 to me.
Definitely.
You nailed it.
2 shots.
And that's where you have to have some type of, I don't want to say emotional intelligence, but be able to control your emotions. Of course you're frustrated right now. You wanted to come here and win. You had dreams of doing this miraculous upset through the conference tournament. You find yourself down 19 and can't make a shot. And so that's where you need to keep your composure and not allow your emotions to get you in situations like this.
At least emotional restraint with what you're talking about. And SIUE, you're right, did come into this. The talk was, if anybody is built for winning 4 games in 4 days, it's the Cougars because of the schedule they played. 3 games, a lot of weeks, some 7-hour bus trips in there.
Yep.
Back to the float game for Nicholson, and that gets punched out of there and staying this way. Carlos Marshall back in there. Gave him a little rest earlier in this half, and Doss comes over, pins it against the glass.
Wow. Sean Doss getting up and showing his athleticism on defense.
Known as a scorer, 12 points per, and then just throws it to nobody.
They're out of rhythm right now. They're frustrated. What you don't want to see is people start to drop their heads and slump their shoulders. You want to continue playing. Anything can happen in this game of basketball. You start knocking down a couple threes, you get a couple steals, and you can get it right back in this game. So what you want to do for Coach Brony, you don't want to see any quitting your guys right now.
Can't get colder. 1 field goal, 6%.
Wow.
And Boyd gives it up. Near steal for Carter, but it snuck through there. And the 3 tapped down to Carter. Ooh, behind his own basket, saves it.
50-50 ball.
And Boyd driving it. Ooh, that was a dysfunctional drive.
Again, but every time, if you notice, every time the ball is loose, Tennessee State tends to end up with it.
And those are those 50-50s you were talking about before.
Tennessee State, Dedrick Boyd.
You know, when I played on championship teams, both in college and professionally, a lot of coaches track. They can tell how hard you're playing by 50-50 balls and deflections, right? You can get steals because the other team isn't playing very well, or rebounds can come a little bit, and that will determine a little bit. But the hustle plays, you can tell by, are you really getting a hand out in the passing lane? Do you have your hands up? Are you contesting every pass? Are you getting deflections? Are you getting 50-50 balls? And that's where you can tell, are you playing with the energy level that you need to be at a championship level?
We've seen some of those qualities for Tennessee State in the first half.
We have seen that. And that's why you see a 20-point lead.
Look out over here. Nicholson saved it in front of the table. Saves it one more time. Boyd, quick fire. And an out down to Doss. Heart stopper for you there for a second.
Yeah, I thought he was coming right at me.
No, he was about to double team us. So 1 of 16. That's the mark that's hanging up for SIUE. Back into right. And there's the second field goal.
There you go. There you go, Mr. Wright. I mean, the ball has to start falling for him. Even with the lack of 50-50 balls, some of this is good defense. Some of this is a little bit of being unlucky, and the shots will start to fall. They just have to continue to play defense and stick with it.
That was 7 minutes without a field goal for SIUE. And they make it back-to-back trips with one. Doss can't. Curtis fumbles it out. There have been some layups mixed in. You talked defense, but there have been some layups mixed into this too.
Yeah, I think that was very good defense right there by Tennessee State. He anticipated the Euro step, which really threw Doss off and forced him to miss that layup.
And Dawson's gotten it back a few times for SIUE. And in that transition spot, hasn't finished it. And Tennessee State's gone through a drought, too. 3 minutes without a field goal for them. So SIUE has gotten their stops, but haven't been able to turn it into much of a dent in the Tennessee State lead.
But that's what you have to keep doing if you're the Cougars. You just keep fighting. You keep plugging away. Hopefully you keep getting some stops. And then, you get 2 or 3 threes to fall. You cut it down to a single point, a single-digit deficit. And now all of a sudden you're right back in this game.
And Kenny Cooper hiding out behind the screen. 5 to shoot. Still probing the baseline. Nicholson, as the clock winds down, it tips down to Doss.
As good of a player Nicholson is, he is only a 27% three-point shooter, so that's the shot the Cougars want him to take.
Now Pruitt from outside. Dewan Pruitt stretching it out.
Like I said, you get a couple stops, you make 3 threes in a row. Now all of a sudden it's a 9-point ball game, and everybody starts to get a little bit nervous. Tennessee State does, like, whoa, these guys aren't quitting. So that's why you just keep plugging away possession by possession. There are no 15-point shots, right? So you just have to get it back possession by possession.
And Pruitt sat down after that flagrant one and hit a 3. Alters a shot. And SIUE. And a couple of good sequences here. Oh, Pruitt feeling nice. Ooh, side of the rim.
Yeah, that was I don't know if that was the best shot, but at least it looks like they're waking up a little bit.
And Boyd short. SIUE getting stops 3 minutes in a row. And Carter with the follow. And a timeout for Tennessee State. Led by 24, Marcus. Ended up winning by 2 after UT Martin had tied it. And now they're turning it around and watching their men's team try to come back.
It was a heck of a game, and UT Martin had a layup at the end of the game to tie it, to send it overtime, and unfortunately missed that. Saw some tears out of that team, because it hurts to have that opportunity to win and or at least continue your season and miss that. But excellent ball game. Both teams fought to the end.
Right. Congratulations to Samantha Quigley-Smith, their first OVC tournament win as the head coach of the Cougars. Late clock 3, airborne and off for Kenny Cooper. So Tennessee State's gone cold the last 3+ minutes now.
Yeah, they have.
SIUE trying to string together makes after just 1 to begin it. And Jonathan Curtis with a miss. And Pruitt, who's been in the middle of a little bit of a revival for SIUE, down there on the floor.
And you know what? You see them waking up. You see them going on a little bit of run. And by golly, what happens there? They come up with a 50-50 ball. Those things you can, I'm telling you, as a player, you can really see who's going to have the momentum just by seeing little things like that.
By golly is right.
It's PG right now.
That's right. And it is Dewan Pruitt at the free throw line. Saw him down on the defensive end. Alter some shots, too, on this run for SIUE. He's scoring right now, last couple trips for SIUE, but Brian Baroni said he's an underrated defender. He deserves a little bit more credit in this league for what he gives us down there.
Yeah, he's a really versatile guy. We've seen him make threes. He goes in the post often. So when you have a guy that can shoot threes and is probably one of your better post players, he can really switch on multiple different positions. So, yeah, he brings a lot of versatility to this Cougars team.
And he's off the floor here after the free throws.
Thought he got away with the walk right there.
And they gave it up to Cooper, who splashes in a 3. Kenny Cooper, not a lot of volume from out there, but when he takes, he makes 45%. And Doss staying with it on the reverse.
He had missed a couple layups, like you mentioned before, so I'm sure he feels good to get one of those easy ones to fall.
Cooper low inside out and tucks it inside on Curtis and headed to the free throw line. This feels like it could be a lot bigger than 12, don't you think?
Because we saw them dominating so much early on. They were up 20. SIU has chipped away in these last 4 to 5 minutes, gotten it down to 12. Their goal right now should be to get it within single digits. That's what we talked about before the other TV timeout. I said if they can get it, they were down 17 at the time. I said, you know, if they can get some stops, make a couple threes, get it down to 9, now they'll be back in good position. Here they are down 13. These last 2 minutes are going to be very important how they finish this half.
And Tennessee State led it by 23. Just under 9 minutes to go. So the last 7 minutes have been owned by the Cougars once they finally got the lid off. Snapped a 7-minute scoring drought. And back down to Curtis, and they collapsed on him, and Tennessee State forces the turnover. Baseline out of bounds.
I like that zone by Tennessee State. SIUE is not a very good three-point shooting team. Only 29% for the year as a team from 3. So when you can play that zone and really pack it in, it can give them some problems.
Another post here with Johnson. Loud first half for him. A couple of jams, a couple of soft touches like that around the rim, too.
I don't know if you saw, they were playing on the high shoulder, trying to force him to spin baseline. The help was just late.
So I'll take that.
Yeah.
Desmond Polk into the mid-range. Smooth.
Coming off the bench and giving him a little energy right here.
And Desmond Polk, they rely on him as a defender a little bit more than his scoring. Only one big scoring game for him on the year. It was against Belmont. Chose a good game to do it in. Here's right here. Situation again.
You see the help. You see the help where he should be there right there. And then the weak side guard has to come down and take that. He got a little lucky right there.
Cooper with the runner from 15 out, and the rebound for SIUE. So they survived it.
They did survive it. They executed the help. The first help, he got away with the travel. They executed the first help, and then the weak side defender, the weak side offensive player was open. He just bobbled the ball.
Cooper steps back into one. And falls before he can throw it back in. Let's go back to that block down the other way. Johnson.
Going to the basket. Had to stare him down and said, hey, this is my house, son. Johnson is so athletic. We saw him getting up high above the rim with a couple dumps earlier in that first half. And there he is using that athleticism on the defensive end.
That was the hypothetical lip reading from you, right?
It was.
I don't think he actually said something. He said, by golly. I'm not going to let you live that down.
Yeah. I'm sure my family and friends at home aren't either.
You'll hear that again. 123 down to 14 for SIUE. Looking for another score before halftime. Maybe their last touch at it before the locker room. Back into Pruitt and bullied his way in, but Dupree is having none of it.
Again, that's the refs letting them play a little bit. I thought that was a foul, but they haven't called that. They haven't called it on both sides, really. So that's where you just have to play through it.
And Marshall slapped Dupree in the back. Looked kind of playful at first, but then the expression coming away was, okay, for real now, what was that?
Right.
So SIUE does get another offensive look. A little under 9 seconds to go. And in the hands of Carter. 5 seconds until the half. Carter shakes free for a three. And it's off. And the rebound to SIUE. And at the horn, Desmond Polk.
If people thought they could make a run in this tournament, is because over the last 4 games, they have been shooting 40% from 3. When on the year, they were averaging only 29% from 3. So it looked as if they were catching their stride, shooting the ball better. And now, right now, we see they're back to shooting 22% from 3, only 21% from the field. If they want to get a win, they're going to have to get some buckets.
Those halftime stats, by the way, brought to you by Ticket Smarter, official secondary ticket partner of the OVC. And Tennessee State, they had something to do with that low shooting number for SIUE in the first half.
Oh, definitely. They were the more aggressive team. They were contesting every shot. They were getting all the loose balls, and that's exactly why they got ahead. Now, one of our keys to the game was Tennessee State needed to keep SIUE off the glass. SIUE did have 8 offensive rebounds, but they weren't able to convert and turn those into second chance points.
Marcus, that was just an absolute dome shot to Jalen Dupree. Hot pass coming into his face.
Yeah.
And there's Nicholson weaving in. Contact there. Nothing called, and Pruitt reels it in.
Again, the refs are letting them play. I like that they're being consistent on that, and they're not switching it up and letting you play one play and then calling a tic-tac the other. Like I said, the players need to adjust to the style of what they're calling. You can't reach out and hug a guy on the drive like that, but they are allowing you to contest, especially if you jump vertically, even if there is some contact. They haven't been calling that.
Which you said you liked in the first half, as long as there's some consistency to it.
Yeah, in postseason play, you don't ever want to see the refs be the star of the show. You want to see the refs allow the player, keep everyone under control, but allow the players to win or lose the game.
And Pruitt too strong on that. And Nicholson, who had a team-high 8.5 rebounds in the regular season, had the miss there. Double-doubles in both of the regular season games against SIUE. And he gets blocked by Wright and throws it off his leg. And Nicholson was a problem for a lot of teams in the OVC, but SIUE specifically, his season high came against the Cougars, and 16-10 and 18-10 in the two games.
Wow. Well, we see that he's continuing that. One thing I do notice for Tennessee State, that Carlos Marshall is starting on the bench. He struggled that first half, even though he's their leading scorer. He had 0 points. He did contribute with 5 rebounds, but he's starting on the bench in the second half.
And Fitzgerald, who got that shut up, had foul trouble for Tennessee State. He's on the re-attack, gives up Johnson, and he did something there either.
Yeah, he got happy feet.
Yeah.
He got happy feet because he wanted to go up and try to dunk that, but good call on the travel.
He was either about to double dribble or he was going to get called for the travel first, and he got called for the travel before he could put it down and double. Now, Courtney Carter at the control. Somebody, Brian Baroni, said has to play well if SIUE will win, and has lately. And there's Doss getting hit. So you think about support for Doss. Last 3 games have been the best 3 games for Carter, so that's where some of the help could come. We saw it from Pruitt in the first half a bit for the Cougars, but it can't be just one-dimensional.
It has to be by committee. When you lose your leading scorer and such a dynamic scorer like they lost with Taylor, it has to be done by committee.
Oh, Dupree crushes one. And Nicholson leading the break. And an air ball on the floater. And Pruitt out to recover it. And 3-on-2 here if SIU wants. And just needed one, and Dupree goaltends that. Got shot blocking hungry after he pinned the last one.
I thought the last one could have been a goaltend. I couldn't tell if he had hit the backboard first. This one is above the cylinder, so that's a goaltend. The last one, I thought it may have hit the backboard first. And right now you saw Coach take Nicholson out, because after he thought he was fouled down here on this end, he walked back on defense. I like the coach holding him accountable and saying, son, I don't care if he didn't call the call. You get back on defense and you help your team.
With him on the bench, Carlos Marshall goes to work, the top scorer for Tennessee State.
Well, luckily for Coach Collins, you take one all-conference player out, you put the other one in, and he was able to come and make an instant impact.
And Marshall had an excellent final weekend for Tennessee State. There's Wright barreling in. A lot of traffic inside that paint right now, and there you go. Nowhere to go for Pruitt. And after the pass got off, Dupree takes the charge.
Here he is getting the ball to Marshall. Like we said, he didn't score in the first half. First time he touches it in the second, gets the bucket. That's a good call. You got to come to a full stop when you make that pass. If not, you're going to get a charge.
You mentioned Marshall not having much at all in that first half, and still were able to build a 23-point lead at one point, and now he's on.
Well, he's going to keep playing. He's a dog. He's what the players say. He's a dog. He's going to continue to fight and continue to work hard for his team. He had 5 rebounds, even though he didn't score. Now he's back in the game and got 2 straight buckets and starting to get rolling.
Right, Doss slams that one in the face of Dupree.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is called athleticism, and that's why he was featured before the game. He can do so much for him. He handles the ball, and when he gets to the basket, he can finish above the rim.
I thought he was going to go glass and maybe go strong into the body. I didn't see that coming.
Well, some quick hops right there.
He is a very good dunker. Had a big one in the Moorhead State game that Brian Baroni said he'll remember for a long, long time. And the paint starting to clear out now for SIUE. They get Lamar Wright a deep touch.
Take a look at this. He fed the post, and he stayed at. He cut back door. And like you, I think Dupree thought he was going up for the layup. He said, "Au contraire, mon frère. I'm going for the slam dunk." Great finish right there by Sean Doss.
And Doss had that big slam against Morehead State in the upset win to get into this tournament. The final day of the regular season.
And number 20, Ford.
SIUE has left a couple of points out up there at the free throw line. Shooting it pretty well, though. That hasn't been the issue. It's been more what they've done from the floor. Now 15 of 18 as a team at the line. So they've gotten there a lot, too.
Yeah, both teams are shooting over 80% from the free throw line. So although they were in the bonus and double bonus, they were able to get some points at the free throw on the freebies.
Fitzgerald thuds that bottom of the backboard. He had two streaking sideline. Dupree crushes another one. And into the break. Ooh, block for block. Right to face the defending champs, Morehead State. That's not a dark horse, number 3. Everybody knows about Morehead State in this field.
Everyone knows what they can do, and talking to their coach yesterday, they do feel like they're the best team in the conference. Even though Murray State went undefeated, they sincerely feel that they're the best team and they can win this conference. They have a tough road to have to beat Belmont and Murray State to get there, but they believe they can do it.
I tell you, the winner of this game gets SEMO, who nearly beat Murray State. Brad Korn, when we talked to him yesterday, wanted no moral victory type talk, coming up short by 2 points, but that's a good team too. Yeah, the OVC is strong this year. I'm so excited for what they're doing this year and the success that all their teams are having. And Marshall had gotten going with a couple of baskets before the timeout. Turnover here. And Carlos Marshall got going inside, still 0 from 3. Second best three-point shooter in the OVC. And you know it was on the scout for SIUE to run him off. So far, 0 for 2. Dupree's out of the game here. He's blocked all those shots tonight for Tennessee State. It's Johnson on the post defense on Pruitt. And a foul. By the way, Dupree, I knew he had a lot of blocks, hadn't looked at it until now. 6 blocks. New career high for him, but it did look like he came out cramping at that timeout.
It looked like he's cramping, but you're right. He has impacted this game by protecting that rim for Tennessee State. 6 blocks already with 15 minutes to play.
Could we be talking double-double?
Possibly.
Point block, double-double. Here's Doss in on 2, and another block in there, but right into the lap of Wright. Time Nicholson got a hand on it. And a fine for Nicholson.
Lo and behold, here it is, an 11-point ball game for SIU. It looked like it was going to get out of control early. Looked like they were planning on being on the beach in Fort Lauderdale, but not so fast.
Starting to think that you're the one thinking about the beach.
I just might be.
Put back there. SIUE got the original stop before Johnson arrives. Fort Lauderdale, that's her spot, huh?
Anywhere where there's sunshine and water is my spot.
I thought that was the college kid's spot. 3 on the way, and down for Courtney Carter. He's their best from outside. And look out, 10-point game now.
Big possession here for Tennessee State.
And Cooper trying to turn the corner off of the ball screen. Working his post game to the left hand. Hangs off. And Wright almost grabbed it out of there, but it was off Nicholson.
You mentioned Carter, their best 3-point shooter. Did a little Reggie Miller move down there. Was down there running back and forth. Did a fake right. Came out on the other side, wide open 3. You can't leave him open like that.
Had to be your guy coming up, right? Playing here in the state, watching the Pacers.
Definitely.
Said you hung out around the 3-point line.
Definitely.
Oh, steal for steal. SIUE takes it back. Carter passed on the three that time. And right hit and one. So back to single digits for the first time since it was 11-2.
Here he is right here with the dump off and finishing through contact. Going to the line for the air, trying to get this lead down to 7 points. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a ball game on our hands.
For one shot.
Well, Lamar Wright, typically a pretty selective shooter, but he can pop off on you. Had a 20-point game against Omaha in the non-conference. And Brian Baroni hoping that he can get going. Back to 7 after it was 23 points for Tennessee State. And 10 points for Wright to get it back to 7 on this 11-2 run. And Tennessee State working clock. Cooper again turning the corner, and a hand check. Wright was right there, and he gets called for the foul.
Yeah, I guess they got his hands on his hip, got the foul call. That has been a point of emphasis with the refs this year, is that hand checking, and they've called that much more frequently this year.
And you talk hand-to-hand combat. That was, in the literal sense there, Cooper came up holding his hand before he inbounded the ball. And nice shot there for Dedrick Boyd.
Big shot right there. They're hoping to slow this momentum down a little bit because SIU definitely, the momentum is definitely shifted over to the SIU side.
And Tennessee State had the locks on for much of the first half, maybe picking it up again. Nicholson jumping the lane. Oh, yeah, Traylor's waiting with them, and Johnson one more time. Way up for Johnson.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is athleticism, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is not a very smart play. You got the dunk, get back on defense, got it back up to an 11-point lead. You don't need to hang on the rim and smack the backboard. And now this is going to hurt your team.
Nicholson had 2 guys he could have picked from here.
The technical foul.
Right here with the dunk. Just get back on defense. You know they're going to call. There's nobody up on, there's nobody up under you. So this is just hanging on the rim, smacking the backboard. As soon as you smack that backboard like that, the refs are going to call it.
At the line for SIU.
So now what could have been a momentum changer for Tennessee State with the steal and dunk. Now SIU can equalize that. But Doss goes to the free throw line and misses it.
In the game for Tennessee State, number 24, Jalen Dupree.
Technical foul on Johnson, and he's going to get an earful for that. But I bet when he watches it back, it'll be worth it.
One thing I do like about Coach Collins, he doesn't care if you're the star. When Nicholson didn't get back on defense, he came straight to the bench. Right there, Johnson's been playing well. Got the nice dunk. Made a stupid play. Come straight to the bench. He holds his players accountable.
And Dupree's back into the game. Don't go into the paint on him tonight. 6 blocks. They are going at him with Pruitt. Got past him, and it fell off. I guess we can just look at the seeds and ask you who the favorite is, but outside of the top 2, who do you think has the best chance out of the next 6 to make it?
Well, obviously, you're looking at Morehead State. They have the talent. They have the experience. It's hard to say that Murray State is not going to win it because they've been awesome all year. And they have some dudes. Their strength and conditioning coach is doing a great job because when you see them, they are really, really good.
It could be a 2-bid league, by the way. We're giving out the first automatic bid this week, but Murray State, with the championship and the regular season on the line, national TV last week, destroyed Belmont.
Destroyed Belmont. I was supposed to be taking some kids down there for an unofficial visit, and unfortunately the roads got bad, but we watched it, and you could see why they're ranked. At the time, they were number 22, but, for the OVC, it's one of those things is if someone else wins, it's not a bad thing because Murray State's a lock at this point. Murray State is probably a projected 7th seed. If they lost in the championship game, they'd still probably be a 7th seed. And so for the entire conference, that's where you hope that maybe you can get 2 in.
Marcus, can you answer something for me?
Sure.
Okay. You'll definitely have an answer?
I hope. It depends.
How do you beat a team by 1 million with a regular season championship on the line and drop spots in the poll? Oh, another dunk for Johnson.
Wow, this kid is athletic. Back in the game and immediately making an impact with the tip dunk. So I was really upset to see that. You're right. They went on TV. They beat up on Belmont, and everyone knows. Let's take a look at this replay. This deserves definitely a follow-up power slam by Shakem Johnson. He's had a couple of those this year. Not this year, this game. A couple of them that could be on ESPN. Top plays of the week, maybe. I'm advocating for it.
All right, bringing the theme music. But anyway, the point about Murray, how do they drop spots?
I was disappointed to see that. That's just, in my opinion, that's just disrespect to the mid-majors out there. You know, they don't get as much TV time, and so it's easy to say, oh, this team from the bigger conference is better than them. I don't know how you win that convincingly over Belmont, a Belmont team that won at SLU, a Belmont team that is always one of the better teams in the country. No big schools want to play them, ever. No one ever wants to go to Belmont. They have one of the best home records over the last 10 years of any team in the country. You go and you annihilate them and you drop spots. I was disappointed in the voters for that.
Well, you're talking about two bids again. It was a multi-bid league a couple years ago with Murray State and Belmont. And could be headed back that way again. Find out this week. The first of our 7 games here. And Tennessee State again had the 23-point leads, trimmed down to a couple possession game, but Tennessee State back on beam here, up 13.
Shakem Johnson has been the difference tonight. They have 2 all-conference level players with Nicholson and Marshall. Marshall hasn't really been very effective offensively, but that man right there has been, and he's picked up the slack, and that's why you see them here with the 15-point lead.
And it's a 20-point night for Johnson. He's got his season high in the biggest moment in postseason play. The best before tonight was 16. He could be on his way to another double-double as well. And hold on Tennessee State.
That is on Tennessee State's number 1, Marcus Fitzgerald.
You're in a good position when your 5th leading scorer on the team is dropping 20 within 30 minutes of the game. So you know you have other guys who can score more. Obviously Nicholson, obviously Marshall, obviously Fitzgerald. But when you have your 5th leading scorer able to step up and score that many points, it shows how dangerous you are.
Remember, Pruitt spearheaded the start of a run for SIUE to get back into it. With that post play that you're talking about, with a guy like Johnson, with Dupree blocking shots off the bench, not an easy ask for the big guys for the Cougars right now.
Yeah, they're bigger, they're more athletic. SIUE just have to compete. They were starting to get the 50-50 balls. They were starting to get getting the layups to fall because they were missing layups early on. But now it looks like TSU has kind of picked their momentum back up.
Here's Boyd. Gets a clean look after the sidestep. And that is over the back.
A good old-fashioned box out. Fundamentals still work, ladies and gentlemen.
Number 11, Nicholson. That is his 3rd.
He would have had one of those situations holding the box out. That ball might bounce one time.
Yeah, that's how you had to do in practice, right? You had to let the ball bounce one time.
Replacing Desmond Toll.
You were probably trying to get out on the break. I don't want to hear any of that from you. You weren't boxing anybody out.
I'm boxing out. You're right. I'm running the wing, trying to get a spot up 3.
Shamar Wright slashing into the lead. Another guy. Remember we called that link year prep game earlier this year. That's where Shamar Wright came out of.
Yeah, he went there for his prep year, and we were able to see their high school team, which they're in their first year of existence having a high school team, and one of the top 8 teams in the country. They've had an incredible year. They have a great program down there in Branson.
Working it around, and the Cougars finally finish the possession with Pruitt skying high. And a chance to get it back to 10 here. We're inside with the 3, just ahead of the 8-minute timeout. Remember, the Cougars have not won an OVC tournament game ever. They're 0-5 in this event. And has the 8th seed again, and zigzagging action, and they got a clean look down for Cam Williams.
You know, several possessions ago, we saw Carter, when I mentioned that Reggie Miller move down low where he was jabbing around, and then he came out that side, he made the 3. Him making that 3 just got the basket right there for SIUE because the screener's man had to help. Williams' man had to help out, anticipating him getting the 3, and he left him wide open up under the basket.
Johnson can't be stopped. 22 points. He's only missed 2 shots tonight. And Pruitt got it just outside of the restricted area. Everybody crashes out for a Doss 3. All right, inside double digits again. And in this half, SIUE shooting 50%. Long way from how this game began. And they were at 6% from the floor late in the first half. Boyd on the slash. Fall away, slides down to Williams.
You know, I'm really just impressed with how SIUE has stuck with it. They could have easily quit. They could have mailed it in, but they didn't. And here they are, right back in this ball game. Tough miss right there by Cam Williams.
Pushing aside those Fort Lauderdale thoughts for 7 more minutes. Timeout for Tennessee State. 8th-seeded Tigers got the upset win against Eastern Illinois earlier. On the men's side, here's what the nightcap has looked like. And Johnson with 22 points, 1 rebound away from a double-double, and 4 absolutely ferocious jams.
He has been the difference in this ball game. You know, we thought Nicholson or Marshall would be the one that's carrying this team. And here it is, Johnson putting up nearly a double-double.
More action inside center. The one he got the technical on?
I think the tip dunk might have been one. I like the one that he had in the first half as well, and taking off of 1 foot. But you can take your pick. All of them, he gets well above the rim, and you can see the hops that he has.
You'd have a pretty good all-star weekend with Johnson and Sean Doss. 2 big dunks in this game. Yeah,
they could have did better than the NBA guys did in their dunk contest this year. Wow.
A little flat in Cleveland a couple weeks ago, yeah. Nothing like seeing the 7-footers in the 3-point contest. Carl Anthony Towns win it. All right, so inside 7 to go, 9-point game. And back cut for Wright, and he gets an easy 2.
That was an excellent play. You got the defense moving. You got the help side defense out of position. Used their aggressiveness against them and went back door for the wide open layup. Now, don't look now. A game that feels like Tennessee State has really dominated. They're only up 7.
Marshall, early second half, got it going. One more time, plus a foul.
That's why you have all conference level players right here. Going to the middle, went with the up and under, got the foul, and one.
Well, that's 4 fouls on Lamar Wright now, too. So big for the margin, but also big for the long game down the final 6 minutes, too. It's a rim protector and a guy that was starting to score for SIUE now going to the bench.
Yeah, it's a big foul for them.
Marshall short. Doss with the late box out. So Marshall starting to get back toward where you would expect him to be with the scoring. And the 3 second-half field goals. Got 6 points now. And still shy of his 13 points per game he averages. And Doss falling away. Rebound for Nicholson. Here's Marshall back on the attack. Leaving it off for Nicholson, and it gets swatted by Wright. But Tennessee State, no shot clock reset here. Trying to get one up here with 3 to go. And Fitzgerald weaves it off the glass and in.
Nice move right there at the end of the shot clock with the oopsie-doop layup for Marcus Fitzgerald.
By golly, good call by you. A little foul down the floor.
Here it is, the shot clock.
Call it like you did the first time.
Clocking down. Here we go. Oopsie-doop with the That's a nice layup in the finish.
Team's 9.
One more time, please.
Big bucket right there. Big bucket right there for Marcus Fitzgerald.
Killing me. Dupree just fouled out of the game, so it's typically a good night if you foul out and you have more blocks than fouls. That's what Dupree ends his night with. 6 blocks, 5 fouls.
He definitely made his presence felt in the time he was out there. Really helped them get to that early lead by protecting the rim, and like you said, with the 6 blocks.
So will that open up the lane for SIUE the final 5 minutes? We'll see. Dupree's shot blocking ability out of there. Marshall bumping and grinding his way into the paint and stayed with it and finally got fouled.
Thought that was good defense by Cam Williams all the way until the end, where he did catch him with a smack on the wrist. You could hear it. I could hear it from here, and that's what drew the attention of the ref and sending Marshall to the line for 2.
At the line, Carlos Marshall for 2 shots.
Carlos Marshall, see the blue tape on his left hand. He taped up a couple of his fingers earlier in the night. Get a shot of it there, yeah.
That's his offhand. It shouldn't affect him too much. It might affect him on the dribble, but on the shot, that shouldn't affect you too much because your left hand shouldn't be affecting your shot anyway.
Good catch by our crew. And Marshall's got it up to a 7-point night for him. His team leading by 12 with the quarterfinals awaiting the winner. And Pruitt gets denied by Nicholson. So even with Dupree out, Tennessee State still hunting shots around the rim.
Tennessee State is athletic. Nicholson is very athletic. Johnson is very athletic. And they compete, and so they contest every shot.
Cooper shaking, stop and start to the basket. Was that for a little oopsie-doo or whatever you called it before? No answer back the other way, and Nicholson tears another one down.
You know, it was looking like SIUE, they had it down to 7, and it was looking like we were going to have a close finish right now. They really need to stop because Tennessee State has stretched this lead up to 14 just up under the 4-minute mark.
And next balls our break. And Tennessee State up by 14 like we were talking about. Trying to get back to the quarterfinals like they did in 2020. And that's out with 2 to shoot. Clay, Junior Clay, finally in this event. Been a couple of years for the senior. Long time coming. He'll get his first look at the Ford Center. And Tennessee State 3:30 away from a trip to the quarterfinals where they would see SEMO. And 2 teams that finished a half game off the pace of each other in the regular season. Shot clock violation, SIUE ball. Yeah, Tennessee State, they had a game against Tennessee Tech canceled. So they didn't get a chance to potentially tie SEMO in the standings. That's why SEMO got the 4, Tennessee State got the 5. SIUE closed it to a couple of possessions at one point. And Tennessee State powered by the double-double of Shakem Johnson and Carlos Marshall sprinkling in some scoring. Gotten it back out to double digits, but it's right back into the game. Despite the foul trouble, got to go with them now. Final 3 minutes.
Yeah, you got to throw all your marbles in right now and give it all you got. This is now or never for the SIUE Cougars.
And playing with the 4 fouls, Wright has 9 points, 5 boards. And this team down 12. Fitzgerald springs free, drive and kick. Marshall got a 3.
Wow, Marshall a 41% three-point shooter. Fitzgerald gave up the layup to kick it out for 3, and he made him pay and knocked it down.
Doss persistent. Shoe put back. Not a time if you're SIUE, though. You can afford to go 2 for 3 or 3 for 2.
Yeah, they're gonna have to pick up the intensity right now. They're down 13 with 2 minutes to go, and I'm not seeing the urgency right now. They should be up in the ball, trying to create a turnover.
8 to shoot. Fitzgerald shakes in and playing one-on-one, gets to the free throw line.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, right there, they allowed them to take too much time off the clock easily. Right now, you really want to get up in the ball, really make them move the ball, hopefully get in the passing lane where you don't have to foul and send them to the free throw line to get the ball back. They're going to have to pick it up right now if they want to cut this lead down and give themselves a chance to win at the end.
And he figured some threes will have to fall too. That's not been a big three-point night on either side. It has been a big dunk night. It has been a big night at the free throw line on both sides. Fitzgerald adding to it.
This press right here is really just to slow the ball down. It's not a good foul right there for Tennessee State.
Fitzgerald said, no, I didn't foul him. Carter turned around and said, dude, you fouled me.
Well, it happened right in front of us. He fouled him. He reached across his body. Anytime you reach across with the right hand and you're open, you're throwing your shoulder into the guy, that's a clear foul for the ref. It's an easy call. You don't need to make that play right now. You need to slow them down, make SIUE take time off the clock to get shots up, not stop the clock and allow them to put points on the board with the clock stopped.
So Marcus Wilson said, dude, you fouled him.
Yeah, you fouled him.
Just like Carter did. And Carter got them both with the clock stopped. And Desmond Polk coming back in for SIUE. And Tennessee State trying to make a clean sweep of the Cougars. Beat them twice in the regular season. And foul shots will probably determine if they do it a third time. 1-and-1 coming for Nicholson.
Well, that was a smart foul out of everyone out there. You got Marshall, 84% free throw shooter. Fitzgerald, 86. Nicholson is only a 66% free throw shooter. So, of the people on the court, that's definitely the person you want to foul.
Well, you're on it. And so front end miss for Nicholson. Door slightly ajar now for SIUE to come back. With the miss front end, Carter. Ooh, way off. And staying down on this end. Want a quick shot, want a quick three, just not that result.
You know, Tennessee State is going to be defending the three right now. So right now they're calming down the court, setting up, calling the play. I would just take it directly to the basket. Force the referee to make a call or go get a quick two, and that way you get a chance to set up and try to get a steal on the inbounds.
And that's what Doss had in mind, right through the hands of Pruitt, though.
Yeah, I think that might have wrapped it up right there.
You got the Marcus Wilson bow on it. And Cooper to the foul line. Doss reached in. Doss did his best to carry it for the Cougars tonight. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, a second double-double of the year. Well, it looks like we'll be hearing from the Tigers again tomorrow night.
At the line, Kenny Cooper.
They're dangerous. They're dangerous when you have two all-conference level players, and then like we said, with Johnson coming in and playing the way he is. At the end of these games right now, they have 2 point guards on the court. Fitzgerald and Cooper can both handle the ball. So at the end of the game, you have 2 good ball handlers who can both facilitate and take care of the ball. So they have the pieces to make a run. We saw that in the first half, how well they played. I'm excited to see what they do in this tournament.
So you got Johnson, who's now hot inside scoring threat for Tennessee State. Looking ahead to tomorrow night potentially. And Manny Patterson is playing great ball for SEMO right now.
Yeah, SEMO, again, the 4 seed, they're dangerous. They have a lot of confidence coming into this. You know, as we're speaking, I'm seeing my buddy, Coach Tim Kaine from Murray State, walking up out of here. You know, he's here early. The team doesn't get here until tomorrow. He's here early to scout, right? So he knows this is a potential matchup in the future. So he's scouting, and that's why Murray State is Murray State. You know, they're planning ahead. They're scouting. Not overlooking their next opponent, but making sure they're crossing their T's, dotting their I's, and not overlooking anyone.
You like the double buy setup?
No, I would prefer to see them, you know, challenge more. Now they earned it. If you're going to do a double buy, they definitely earned it. But one of the things about March is You like to see the 10 seed or the 8 seed play against the 1 seed, and they need to win 3 to get in. But from a conference standpoint, I do think it's smart because you want your best teams to go to the NCAA tournament. If the 8 seed, but like I said, that SIUE job is a really good job because you're stationed right in the metropolitan area with a lot of talent. So if you can convince some of the talent to stay home, you get local fan support supporting their local players, and you get a pool of talent right there to choose from, convince them to stay home. That's what SLU has done. They've really convinced a lot of the better players in the area who would have gone Power 5 to stay home locally, and I think SIU can do that. So even though this isn't looking good right now to finish this season, I think SIUE has the opportunity to continue to get better and be a force in this league.
At the line, Marcus Fitzgerald.
The OVC's got some heavy traffic coming in the St. Louis area.
Yeah.
Gerardo obviously not too far away where SEMO is. SIUE's right there.
And now you're adding Lindenwood, which is on the opposite end of town. So, but you know, St. Louis is big enough and has enough talent to support those teams and still produce enough talent to where everybody can prosper.
And then the ball will be in for Tennessee Tech coming up next. As this one winds down, Tennessee State does technically have to get one more up, or Sean Doss can commit a foul, extend the game a little bit further. About a half-hour intermission between both games. Austin Peay coming up, 6 seed, 7 seed, Tennessee Tech. Golden Eagles playing well down the stretch. They've won 5 of 7 coming in. Austin Peay has the OVC Freshman of the Year.
You know, partner, you brought up Juwan Howard earlier in the broadcast, and I'm sure some fans are maybe looking at this like, why are you fouling? You're down 15. I'm a big believer in playing until the final minute, and Coach Baroni is building a culture of we play for 40 minutes. I don't care if we're up 15 or we're down 15. We're going to play to the buzzer, right? And so you teach, even though it feels frustrating right now, if you keep teaching your guys the culture, the pillars of your culture of competing until the clock strikes 0, then you start becoming the toughest team on the court. And you continue to play. So I've never been one to be upset with coaches that are telling their kids to foul when it looks like the game is over. Yes, we know they can't win. But for Coach Baroni, he's teaching his guys, this is how we play here. From start to finish, 40 minutes, no quit. And I like that.
And just as long as nobody's upset, if there's a timeout called, we'll be good. Hang with us on a rollout. Sounds like you're predicting drama. Well, right at the line, shooting one more. 11-point game for him. Him and Pruitt did support Doss. SIUE finally got out of the doldrums of a 1 for 14 shooting start in this game. Made it interesting, but too much Johnson with his double-double tonight. Maybe one more time to the free throw line for Marshall. This is what you're talking about. Down 13, 25 seconds to go, and SIUE still wants to keep their season going.
Well, here's the philosophy behind it. If you're telling your guys to play 40 minutes and then you allow them to not compete the last 30 minutes, then somewhere along the line, in a child's mind or a young man's mind, it becomes negotiable when and when not to play all 40 minutes. Is it okay to do it when we're only up 5 or only down 15? No. If this is who we are, this is who we are. And we're going to do that up 15, down 15. We're going to play until the clock hits 0. And now when freshmen come in who are used to playing another way, and all the upperclassmen are playing another way and competing all the way to the last minute, it makes it easier to build the culture. And so, although it may stretch this game out a little bit longer for the fans that want to get up out of here, I don't mind it.
Nobody's trying to get up out of here. They're trying to stay for our 6-7 game coming up next.
True enough.
Tennessee State book it, officially moving on into the quarterfinals. Look at SEMO tomorrow.